Saturday, horror story. It was supposed to be a quiet Saturday, the kind of morning where sunlight filters through half-open blinds and the hum of the fridge fills the silence. Lena Calloway, 32, sat in her small kitchen, spooning cereal into her mouth and watching dust particles float in the slanted light. The city outside was waking up, muffled laughter, the bark of a dog, the gentle mechanical sigh of traffic. Everything looked normal, but something felt off. Maybe it was how still the air was, or how, when she looked at the clock on the wall, the second hand wasn't moving. Tick, pause, tick, and then nothing. The hand froze between seconds. Lena frowned. She tapped her phone screen, 9:17 a.m., the same time it had been when she woke up. She turned the digital clock on the counter toward her. 9 a.m. Every clock in her apartment read the same. She opened her curtains, half expecting to see the neighbor walking her dog or the mail truck passing. But outside the street was empty. Cars lined the curbs, sunlight painted the sidewalks, but not a single movement. No people, no sound, no wind. It was like someone had paused the world. Her stomach turned. She whispered, "Hello?" into the silence, her voice sounding too loud. No answer. She laughed nervously. Maybe it was a power glitch, or she was half dreaming again. But the air didn't move. Her breath didn't fog on the window. The hum of the refrigerator had stopped, and when she turned back toward the kitchen, her spoon was slowly turning in the bowl. By itself, there was a knock. 3 short, deliberate taps. Her head snapped toward the door. She didn't move for nearly a minute. Staring, breathing slow, her pulse echoing in the silence. Then came another knock. This time, softer, almost polite, Lena stepped closer. "Who's there?" she whispered. No answer. When she peered through the peephole, the hallway outside was empty. But not just empty, wrong. The light was dimmer than usual, stretching shadows that didn't belong. The patterned carpet outside seemed to ripple, like the hallway was breathing. She closed her eyes, counted to 3, opened them again. Something was standing at the end of the corridor, too far to make out clearly. Tall, human-shaped, head tilted toward her, not moving, not walking, just watching. Her phone buzzed on the counter. A single message from Jared, neighbor after 3B. "Hey, are your clocks working?" She hesitated, typed back quickly. "No, everything's frozen." "What's going on?" No reply. Another message appeared, seconds later. "Don't open the door." Her heart pounded. She turned back to the peephole. The figure was closer now, halfway down the hall. The face was wrong, the kind of wrong the brain rejects before it can understand. The features shifted, melting from one expression to another, smiling, frowning, crying, like a face being tested for realism. Lena stumbled back, nearly dropping her phone. The television turned on by itself. Static filled the screen, flashing in erratic bursts. Through the static came a faint whisper, distorted, low, almost mechanical. "Saturday. Stay inside." The voice was female, calm, familiar. She realized, with a creeping dread, that it was her voice. Her phone buzzed again. Jared had sent an image, a photo of his apartment hallway, identical to hers. But in the frame, there was something at the far end, crawling along the ceiling. Its limbs bent wrong. Its hands were flat, palm out, dragging itself forward like a spider. Then a new message. "It's looking for you." Lena tried her front door. It wouldn't move. It wasn't locked. It was like the wood had fused into the frame. When she looked back at the window, she saw movement at last, not outside, in the glass. Her own reflection wasn't mimicking her anymore. It blinked slowly, one eye at a time. Then tilted its head and smiled, a wide, ain't-knowing smile. The reflection mouthed something, words she didn't say. She leaned closer to read its lips. "It's your turn." The ceiling light flickered. Once, twice, and then the whole room shuddered, like the air pressure dropped. From her living room came a faint tapping, rhythmic, deliberate tap, tap, tap. She turned the corner and froze. Every clock she owned, the microwave, her watch, the oven, now read 9:08. They all ticked together, once in unison. Then, from the center of the floor, a line began to form, a thin black crack snaking across the tiles, slowly spreading toward her feet. The whisper returned, echoing faintly from somewhere below the floorboards. Saturday never ends. The lights went out. For a moment there was total blackness, the kind that hums in your ears, pressing against your skull. Then, a faint sound, not from her apartment. From beneath it, like breathing, slow, wet, close. She backed away, phone flashlight trembling in her hand. She pointed it toward the floor, and the crack had widened, forming a perfect circle. It wasn't a crack, it was a door, and beneath it, something knocked back. Lena stumbled back from the circle on the floor as a faint vibration hummed through the tiles, almost like something was breathing beneath her. She dropped her phone in panic. The flashlight beam fell across the crack and caught something slick and pale moving in the dark below. A hand, small, gray, trembling, like a child's hand reaching out from under the floor. Her scream caught in her throat. The fingers pressed against the tiles, twitching once, then retreated into the blackness with a wet scraping sound. The whisper rose again, coming from all directions now. Saturday never ends. And then, silence. Her lights flickered back to life, blinding white. Everything looked normal. The crack on the floor was gone. The digital clock on the counter read 9:17 a.m. Again, Lena's cereal bowl sat on the counter, untouched. Her curtains hung open. Sunlight poured through. It was like time had reset itself. Her phone buzzed with a morning reminder. Grocery run, 10 a.m. She stared at it, shaking her head. Her voice trembled. No, this isn't happening. The world outside looked the same, identical, perfect, fake. Every clock in the apartment blinked. 9:17. Before freezing, she opened her front door to flee. But instead of the hallway, there was a wall of mirrors. Each reflected her standing in a slightly different pose. One smiled, one cried, one stared directly at her with black, hollow eyes. She turned away, but her reflection didn't. The mirrors flickered like screens. Then one by one, her reflections turned their heads toward the far right edge of the glass, toward the hallway corner where the shadow from earlier had stood. The air vibrated. A low, muffled sound like a heartbeat deep in the walls. Lena whispered, "What do you want?" A voice whispered back, "You already know." She spun. The voice came from inside her phone. The screen had lit itself up. No apps, no time, just a white glow pulsing softly, then her own voice, distorted, whispering from the speaker. "It's not Saturday anymore. You're between." Her breath trembled. "Between what?" "Between the last time you woke up and the next time you don't." A sudden banging came from the ceiling, heavy, slow, like someone dragging furniture upstairs, except Lena lived on the top floor. Her phone buzzed again, a message from Jared. "You hear that? It's in the ceiling again." "Don't go up," she typed back furiously. "What are you talking about? What's happening?" "What's upstairs?" No reply. Instead, a picture came through, a blurry, grainy image of the Goyern stairwell. But every light bulb in the shot was shattered, and at the top of the stairs stood Burris Shape in a black suit, tall and featureless. Then another image, a closer shot. The figure's head was tilted downward, as if looking directly into the phone camera, and then a third image. This one was from inside Lena's apartment, her back, her kitchen. Taken seconds ago, her ceiling began to creak, soft first, then louder. Dust fell from the light fixture, and then came the dragging sound again, closer, like something crawling, scraping along the beams. It was directly above her. Lena grabbed a broom and slowly backed away from the noise. Her reflection in the microwave caught her attention. Her eyes looked too wide, her smile too slow. When she looked up, something tapped back on from above. Once, twice, 3 times. The lights flickered, and through the ceiling vent, a strand of hair fell, long, black, wet. She screamed and stumbled backward as a whisper slid through the air vents. "You shouldn't have looked up." The light bulb shattered. plunging the room into shadow. She woke up on the couch. Morning again. Sunlight through the blinds, her cereal bowl on the table. She didn't move, didn't blink. She just waited. Maybe if she stayed perfectly still, the day would move. But her phone buzzed. A notification she hadn't seen before appeared on her screen. Saturday loop number 2 initiated. Her heart skipped. She swiped the message open and her camera app launched by itself, showing the live feed of her living room. She was there, sitting on the couch. But behind her, through the camera's lens, something else sat at the kitchen table, a figure in gray, head bowed, face obscured by a curtain of hair. She turned slowly, but the kitchen was empty. When she looked back at the phone, the figure was closer now, its head lifting slightly. Her screen glitched, flickering static across her reflection. The camera whispered in a distorted voice, "I liked you better the first time." She threw the phone. It clattered across the floor, landing face up. The figure on screen now stood right behind her. She ran for the door, but the hallway was no longer her buildings. It was endless, repeating itself in perfect symmetry, stretching into blackness. Her breath fogged in the still air. On both walls, identical apartment doors lined the corridor. Every door had the same number. Night. Her phone buzzed behind her on the floor. Over and over, she ignored it. Then, from every door around her, she heard her own voice. "Don't turn around. It's still Saturday. You're not done yet." She clamped her hands over her ears, screaming, but even then she heard it. The voice whispering softly, inches from her neck. "The next Saturday starts when you die." Lena ran. Down the hallway that never ended. The lights flickered overhead, each burst of white revealing more impossible distance. Doors, carpet, mirrors on the walls reflecting her running form 1,000 times, until she stopped. At the end of the corridor stood a single door, glowing faintly. It had no handle, just a keyhole. She knelt, peering through it. Inside, a room filled with clocks, hundreds of them, each one showing a different time, each one ticking backward. And in the center of the room, on the floor, was herself, sleeping. She whispered, trembling, "Wake up." The sleeping version of her opened its eyes and smiled. The walls rippled like water. Her body felt light, her vision flickering between the hallway and her kitchen, the clock room and the reflection. Her phone vibrated one last time before dying completely. The screen flashed a message she barely caught. Saturday loop number 3, final attempt. And then, silence. Lena stood in her kitchen again. Sunlight, cereal, the clock on the wall reading 9:17 a.m. But this time, she wasn't alone. Someone was sitting across from her at the table, a woman, pale, still, smiling faintly. Lena's breath caught as she whispered, "Who are you?" The woman tilted her head. "You used to be me." The air in the kitchen felt thick, as if it were trying to breathe her in. Lena didn't move. She just stared at the woman across from her. The woman smiled softly, the kind of smile that felt like it remembered pain. Her skin was paper white, eyes too dark, and every blink left a faint static echo in the air. "You used to be me," the woman repeated, "but you wouldn't stop waking up." Lena's mouth went dry. I don't understand. What's happening to me?" The woman's voice dropped, like a lullaby wrapped in static. "You kept asking for one more Saturday. The day before it all ended, you made it your prayer. So now you never get Sunday." Something behind Lena shifted. Her refrigerator hummed louder. The lights dimmed. Images flashed through her head, like someone flipping through slides inside her skull. Her old apartment, the balcony, Jared's laughter, then the scream, hers, the fall, the sound of breaking. It wasn't a dream. She saw herself, falling 3 stories, her body hitting pavement, her phone skidding beside her, screen flashing. Saturday, 9:17 a.m. Before shattering, she had died, and now she was living inside the last thing her phone recorded. A loop. The other Lena, the pale version, stood up. Her movements were slow, almost hesitant, like she was learning how to walk. "Every time you wake up, it gets smaller," she said softly. The room. The light. Your voice. Lena backed away, shaking. "Why me? Why not just let me go?" The figure tilted her head. "Because you asked for more time." And time listened. She pointed toward the window. Lena turned, and outside, the city was gone. In its place was an endless black ocean, stretching to infinity. The waves didn't move, and beneath the glass, faint faces shimmered, mouthing words she couldn't hear. The walls rippled like thin fabric. The refrigerator door swung open by itself. Inside was nothing but water. Gently sloshing, the other Lena whispered, "You've been drowning for so long." "You think it's air?" Lena screamed and threw a chair, but it passed straight through the figure. She stumbled back toward the hallway, gasping, and saw her phone lying on the floor again. The screen glowed. Saturday final cycle confirmed. "Proceed to the end?" Her hand trembled. "Yes," she whispered, and the phone said, "Then close your eyes." Darkness swallowed everything. When she opened her eyes, she was standing in the hallway again, the one lined with infinite doors, each marked 17. Only now, each door was open, and from everyone, someone stepped out. Copies of her, hundreds of Lenas, all in different states of fear. Some crying, some laughing, some standing motionless, their eyes all locked on her. Then, one by one, they began to whisper, "You're late. You never left. We waited." Lena stumbled back, and behind her, the shadows stretched long and sharp, merging together into a single, towering form. The figure in the black suit was back, the one Jared had photographed. It stepped forward now, its head almost scraping the ceiling. No face, just the outline of something wearing time like a cloak. The air vibrated with ticking, clocks beating faster and faster. Lena screamed, "What are you?" It tilted its head, and the sound that came out wasn't a voice. It was every clock on Earth striking midnight at once. Then, slowly, it raised one long, shaking hand and pointed at her. "You wanted one more day," it said in a voice that was made of everyone she'd ever loved. "Now it's all you'll ever have." She ran and down the corridor, through the mirrors, through her own reflections. Each version of her screamed something different as she passed. "You fell. You're still falling. You never hit the ground." Her chest burned, lungs full of phantom air, and then the sound of water. She turned a corner and found herself on the balcony again. It was morning. Sunlight, Jared laughing in the kitchen. Just like before, her phone on the table buzzed. 9:17 a.m. and she whispered, sobbing, "Please." "Not again." Jared looked up, smiling. "Hey, you okay?" "You're pale." Lena looked at him. Really looked. His eyes were too dark, his smile too wide, and when he blinked, the sound of water filled the room. Her body trembled. She walked toward him slowly, eyes filling with tears. "Who are you?" she whispered. He tilted his head, smile frozen. "You said you didn't want to wake up alone." His voice dropped an octave. "So I stayed." He reached across the counter, and his hand, wet, gray, and pressed against hers. The sound of waves filled her ears. "We can keep this Saturday forever." And then everything went dark. Sunlight through blinds, a cereal bowl on the table, her phone buzzing with a morning reminder. 17th. Lena smiled faintly now, no fear in her eyes. She stood, walked to the window, and looked out over the calm, frozen city. In her reflection, a shadow stood behind her. She didn't move. Her reflection smiled back and whispered, "Good morning, Lena. It's Saturday."